Hello, welcome everyone for the lecture. Today I am going to conduct the lecture on fresh produce handling. I am W.M.C.B. Wasala, working as the Principal Research Officer joined to the National Institute of Post Harvest Management. National Institute of Post Harvest Management is the major research and development institute in the Sri Lanka. Worked on post-harvest technology of agriculture. It is operated on Ministry of Agriculture. We will move to the lecture. Fresh produce handling. When we talk about the fresh produce handling, we have to talk about post-harvest technology because it comes under the post-harvest technology. What is the post-harvest technology? It is a science and technique that is applied to the agriculture produce after harvest for its protection, conservation, and processing. That means value addition and packaging and distribution of produce. That means logistics and marketing. That is also very important. Produce finally should go to the consumer, then and utilization to meet the food and nutritional requirement. Usually, post-harvest technology of agriculture commodities starts at harvesting and end at the consumption. In between these two steps, there are many steps, but number of steps depend on the commodity and also to the way of usage. And here we are going to talk about the perishable food crops. Therefore, first we should know or discuss what are the vegetable food crops. And if we think about their nature and their production, usually we have year-round production. Therefore, usually need for the short-term storage. But if there are shortages during some part of the year, we can dry them and store as a dried product as an alternative solution. One of the major characters of vegetable food is a high moisture content. It's about it's usually 50 to 80%, sometimes more than that. Therefore, their shelf life is short. Another thing is they are voluminous and heavy, and their respiration rate is very high, especially during the storage time. Therefore, post-harvest life is very short. And other thing is the soft tissues. The tissues of these commodities are very soft, so there is a risk of getting mechanical damages. That is a big issue. And post-harvest losses may occur due to different reasons, and partially to endogenous factors such as respiration, transpiration, germination, and partly to the exogenous factors such as mechanical damages. That's a big issue, and rot and insect like that. And perishable handling. When we talk about the perishable handling in Sri Lanka, we have supply chains and several supply chains operated in Sri Lanka, and mainly exporter chain from grower to exporter, then to the consumer. And the major supply chain is the conventional supply chain, grower, collector, wholesaler, retail, and consumer. This is a very, very long chain. Fresh produce goes through several middlemen. Another one is a supermarket supply chain. It starts with grower to supermarket, then consumer, sometimes collector to the supermarket and consumer. And also value addition chain also is there. Then produce goes directly to the processor and then consumer, and also from grower collector to the processor and consumer. Like this, there are a number of supply chains. Another big issue is the post-harvest losses because they are fresh produce are perishables. Their post-harvest losses are very high. In Sri Lanka, there are two supply chains mainly. If we talk about these chains, in conventional supply chain, about 30 to 40 in quantity out of production. If we calculate the uh, annual losses, it is 0.39 million tons, metric tons. And if we value this losses, it is about 17.5 million worth of fresh produce. What is these losses? If we think about these losses already we produce uh, commodities. Therefore, we have spent money and we are losing this profit and also food. Therefore, prevention of losses is very, very important in fresh produce. Another chain is usually there are several supermarket chains in Sri Lanka. They have managed to maintain the post-harvest losses during their supply chain within 5%. That is a good achievement because they use post-harvest technology uh, proper way during their handling. And you can see some how in our conventional model, how the produce are handled here, the conventional transportation, and there are losses and damages at the end point. And then if we think about the post-harvest losses of fruits and vegetables at different stages, there are many reasons. But if we discuss briefly, losses started at the harvesting, that is due to harvesting at incorrect stage of maturity and incorrect method, especially for the fruits. Another thing is sorting and grading are not being done properly. When all the produce with mechanical damages, produce with diseases, produce with insect damages, pack all together and send to the market. Then we can't protect even better produce also. Therefore, it is another problem. Another thing is the post-harvest diseases. There are many diseases we can see during the post-harvest handling season. The reasons may be from pre-harvest to post-harvest stage, but there are post-harvest diseases which reduce the consumable amount. Another thing is lack of storage. In Sri Lanka, especially, we don't have proper storage system for the perishable produce. Therefore, once we can't sell them at correct time, we can't preserve them and we have to throw them out. This is another reason for the post-harvest losses. Another thing is the improper handling and transportation, especially use of improper packaging system. This is the big issue. If we think about the total post-harvest losses of fish produce, the 75% of total loss is due to the use of improper packaging during the handling and transportation. And these pictures shows clearly the way of transportation, the packaging, the overloading in the package, overloading in the vehicles. Okay, there are many reasons. And other thing is this table So the results of one study is done by the National Institute of Post Service Management, comparing two packaging system for five vegetable crops. And in conventional packaging system, losses are very high. But if we use here we use plastic as a safe packaging, and we can reduce the post harvest losses to very low level. It is about 5 to 7%. And if we think about proper handling of vegetables or fresh produce handling, uh, we have to start at harvesting. We should harvest at correct maturity. There are maturity indices developed to each and every agriculture crop in Sri Lanka, even in other countries also. We have to follow those things. Other thing is there are harvesting equipment, especially when we harvest tall trees. We should use proper harvesting tool for the for picking up crops. Otherwise, there may be damages for the produce. Other thing is use of proper packaging for the handling and transportation. This is very important. This is the place where most of post-harvest losses occurs. Therefore, first we have to give priority for the introducing proper packaging. There are many packaging. One of popular packaging in the world, even in Sri Lanka, is the plastic containers, and these containers can be used for the handling and transportation of fresh produce, but we have to start at the farm stage. And this package should go until the retail. Okay, plastics containers, there are many containers, and they should be stackable. Especially in our system, one of objections coming from the stakeholders in the supply chain is for the use of plastic plate is how empty crates transport back to the farmer, because they have uh, two-way transport system. Uh, this is one problem. Therefore, in Sri Lanka, there are two types of plastic containers are used. One is nestable, and empty crates can be keep one inside one. Then we can save the space. Other one is this kind of uh, collapsible crates. We can fold them. Then empty crates, or very small space is required for the empty crates. Then other type, there are many types, and corrugated fiber boxes we can use in Sri Lanka. They now use for the, especially for the export of fresh produce, and even in local market for mango, for banana, fiber board boxes are used, but durability is low. And produce like banana, when we transport banana as bunches, we can't pack them in a rigid container because their shape is different. Therefore, we can use this kind of styrofoam sheets to wrap the banana bunch to reduce the losses. And if we go beyond that, individually we can use this kind of things like pulp trays to preserve the quality, especially to uh, reduce the abrasion damages, and also we can use styrofoam nets like that individual package. Also we can make use compartment within the package. And this picture shows the gives the good idea about the packaging. If we use, this is the correct method. If we use proper packaging, finally we can get quality produce after the transportation. But if we use this kind of method, this is the problem. You can see the picture. These pictures were taken during one of the studies done by the National Institute of Post Service Management. Then we transported this okra from Dambulu to Colombo. Uh, then finally we captured these photos, and you can see the difference. And Once we use proper packaging, it's a good quality produce here. And but in conventional method, very damage produce you can see here. And also proper storage methods we should use, especially cold storage. Another thing is shelf life extension is very important because their shelf life is very short. We can use some techniques like uh, vacuum packaging or MA packaging like this. Another thing is, especially in fruits, ripening. Rapid ripening is another issue, and the losses are very high due to the ripening, and post-harvest life is very short. Therefore, especially when we send fruits to the export market, ripening during the before the destination, before reaching to destination is another issue. Therefore, delaying ripening during the pest produce handling is very important to reduce the uh, post-harvest losses and also maintain the quality. And use of cold chain, another concept, and even in Sri Lanka, only in few value chains, uh, cold chain concept is used. And there are some steps in cold chain and pre-cooling we have to do to remove the field heat of the commodities before sent to the market. Then during the transportation, we should use refrigerated trucks to maintain the low temperature, and also after transportation until uh, dispatching to the retail market, commodities should uh, store in cold storage. Then retailing also should be done at low temperature. Actually, this is practiced now in supermarket supply chain, sometimes completely or sometimes halfway. And ripening of fruits, safe ripening is very important because these days it's a big issue, safety, food safety, not only in the fresh produce and even in other food also. Therefore, we all know in Sri Lanka uh, methods used for the ripening is not correct. Especially commercial ripening is artificial ripening is required when we do commercial level post-harvest activities because to supply the demand to the market. But we should use correct method. But people now practice incorrect method like spraying ripening ages directly to the fruits, and this is the common method. This is not this creates some health hazards also, and sometimes fruits are dipped in uh, ripening agents. Therefore, we should introduce or we should practice safe ripening methods. One is we can use bioethylene. That means we can produce ethylene using natural materials like plant leaves, like that. And also, ripening chambers can be used to uh, uh, induce the ripening. And here, uh, ethylene is produced, ethylene gas is produced, and ripening is done. But this is safe method. And also, ethylene generators can be used, and these things can be done in ambient condition. But to get a very good quality fresh produce, especially fruits with proper color, uh, low temperature ripening techniques can be used. In some few uh, uh, fruit settlers in Sri Lanka uh, use this kind of techniques. Okay, now requirement is coming from the stakeholders for the low temperature ripening because people think now about the food safety. And if you think several new trends in fresh produce handling for Sri Lanka, one is we think about the food safety, especially post-harvest, to control the post-harvest diseases. Uh, uh, there are some fungicides and other chemicals, but when we think about the safety, we can use graft chemicals like sodium bicarbonate, calcium chloride uh, for controlling the post-harvest diseases, and also ozone application for the post-harvest disease control is another new area we can use for the fresh produce. And intelligent packaging of fresh produce is another emerging technology used in the world. And to know the quality of the produce, what we are going to buy, uh, we can use intelligent packaging. Also it's called smart packaging. And the packaging with this color changing, we can identify the quality of our produce. Okay? This kind of new things we can use in future. And other thing is another issue we are facing is labor. Okay, uh, therefore, to as a solution for this one, we can use mechanical food harvesting method. Okay, because in vegetables we can do manually, but fruits when we harvest from tall trees, it is difficult. But for to use the mechanical harvester, we have to change even cultivation also uh, to harvest easily using the machineries. Okay. Another side we have to think in pest produce handling is the field package, because we know that there are many handling steps during the post harvest system in fresh produce, and when more handling, more losses, and more quality deterioration. Therefore, we can go for the field packing system. We can pack in the field and we can directly send to the market. Then we can preserve the quality and also reduce the losses. Field packing can be done even manually, and also even mechanically we can do field packing. If we have a very big cultivation, commercial cultivation, we can use even mechanical methods, but manual methods also we can do. Another thing is the use of ethylene inhibitors, especially for the fruits. We know that one of problem, as I mentioned earlier, our exporters face this problem. There are some demands for our common, especially fruits, but ripening is a problem. Therefore, uh, these are not new techniques for the other country, but in Sri Lanka, uh, we can move to this side. One is use of 1-methyl cyclopropane to delay the ripening, and also nitric oxide treatment can be used for the delay the ripening. Okay. Another thing is another main problem faced by the our farmers and exporters, and also in uh, traders in local market is a uh, insects problem, because some insects attack during the pre-harvest, but we can see this problem during the post-harvest, especially fruit fly attack. Therefore, there are methods used in food bagging like that, but some issues even we have observed, especially during when we export our fruits, especially fruits, insects problem, but we can't use chemical. Okay, therefore, vapor heat treatment for the insect problem. This is used in some other country like Thailand. When they export their produce, they use this treatment. In Sri Lanka, even Sri Lanka, we can use this kind of new technology to control the insect problems uh, during the post-harvest period. Okay, like that, there are new trends, but I discuss here several trends, and briefly on the post-harvest. system, uh, post-harvest losses and reasons, and what are the methods of fresh produce handling, and few emerging trends of post-harvest technology that can be adopted to Sri Lanka. And thank you very much.